So if you're fairly new to this topic or on the fence, ask yourself, in all the debates you've seen, why don't they just bring up globe pictures from space and just put it to bed before it even begins? You go look at any debate and look at the presentations, and no Globers bring this up in their presentations. And there's a very good reason for that, because it's freaking embarrassing. In fact, it's a big part of what set a lot of us on this path to begin with, because when you look it up, all you get is cartoons. Now, when pressed, they'll bring up the Himawari 8, which is claimed to be the closest to real time that they have. They have to bring up a Japanese weather satellite, but upon looking further, you get some interesting information, and this is what I'm going to point out in this video. So when you go to Himawari's website, it links you here, and you get some interesting information. You find out that the GOES satellite, the Himawari, the Terra, they're all playing their own role. And then you got different computers, like the MCI DAS playing its roles. It's a weather forecasting tool. So it's like a super composite. It's images put together by teams of people and teams of computers. Okay, so it says here, all images in the GOES archive are processed in the MCI DAS using GOES Channel 1 visible to GOES Channel 4 infrared data. And the underlying colored land image is from the NASA Blue Marble Next Generation data set. So we're going to find out what that is. Then it says, when using this base map for web or other publications, please provide the following credit line. The base map was provided by the Earth Observatory team. So there's no pictures of Earth from space from the Himawari. It's a giant effort, and it's information overlaid on a base map, the Blue Marble. It's like a bunch of data, cloud data, ocean current data, different data overlaid on a base map. So let's find out who the Earth Observatory team is. So you see here it says Stokely created the Blue Marble and the Blue Marble Next Generation images using data from the Terra satellite. Stokely is a member of the NASA Earth Observatory. So then you find out that's the team Robert Simmons is on. Are you kidding me? So you find out that there's giant teams of people making this quote-unquote image, and entire computer systems that they've been working on for decades. Now, this is why they do not bring up pictures of Earth in debates, because it is freaking embarrassing. It's like these people aren't even honest with themselves. They'll make excuses for them. They'll be like, you gotta have teams of people. You gotta have a bunch of computers. It's sophisticated. Which is bullshit. The GOES satellite's supposed to be 22,300 miles away. Just take a picture. And it's supposed to be a geostationary orbit. How can they even call that an orbit? It's just, that geostationary means just sitting overhead in one spot. I call that a balloon. But let's hear it from the horse's mouth. Here he is, Robert Simmons himself.
In 2002, Blue Marble 2.0, NASA's Rob Simmons made this. And it had wide appeal too. For example, it ended up as the default background on the iPhone. Simmons' job is...
It's primarily taking data and making pictures out of it.
That's what this is. A composite of datasets from several different instruments translated into a picture.
To us, the really cool thing was the dataset. Up until that point, there was no realistic color map of the globe anywhere.
So the land layer here comes from
the moderate resolution imaging spectroradiometer aboard Terra.
And the tricky part here was the weather.
So we actually had to take clouds out.
They stashed the clouds for later, went onto the ocean. That came from an instrument that measures phytoplankton in the sea.
Where it was low, I colored it dark blue because they're low mostly in mid-oceans. And then where it's a little bit higher, it was like a little bit brighter green.
Then add the clouds back in.
There's a small problem with it because there's a very slight gap in between each orbit.
So some of those are painted on. Then
there was another layer to sort of simulate the atmosphere.
And then there's this little bright spot.
It's called the specular highlight. So it's the reflection of sunlight off of water.
Those are the pieces, but you can't just slap them all together.
It just didn't look realistic. It looks kind of flat, or the clouds are sort of too see-through. So I just hit Command-Z a lot.
There's artistry to creating the world.
What I imagine it to be. Unfortunately, I'm not an astronaut. I've never been to space. It is photoshopped, but it has to be.
So there you have it. They take strips of information, stitch them together, wrap them around the ball, and they really don't even try to hide it. It's there for anybody who wants to scratch underneath the surface. And I left out so much damning information. But as always, thank you for watching.